And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning at KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. So you heard the president talk about Adam Schiff and presidential harassment. I love the president, how he continues to come up with new things again and again and again. Got a great program planned for you today. Senator Risch will join us. We will get his thoughts on the case to reelect the president. And by the way, congratulations to Meridian Mayor Tammy DeVere, who has announced that she will not seek a fifth term. And you take a look at what Mayor Tammy has done and the growth that has happened to Meridian, one of the fastest growing cities in the country, under her watch, guiding the city through the remodel of City Hall, certainly welcoming a bunch of big businesses, the growth of Meridian, and she will be a tough act to follow. Now, forget about the races for House and Senate. This is the race to watch starting now. I mean, there have been people that have been looking for this again and again and again, waiting for their opportunity to be the mayor of Meridian. Let's face it, the Meridian, center of the Treasure Valley, you can pretty much do just about anything in Meridian, one of the fastest growing cities, the fastest growing city in the state of Idaho. One of the things that we do want to bring up to you is this issue involving road rage. And there was an incident yesterday in Meridian where you have police making an arrest for road rage. And as we've talked about this for quite some time, for many, many, many years, people are just not behaving properly on Treasure Valley roads. We'll get to that in a minute. We can go over the list here at 580-5436. Maybe even this morning, you're in your car, you're driving, you're having a good time, you're minding your own business, or you're like Kevin Miller yesterday, bebopping on his way home to Sean Hannity, guy in his pickup truck, tailgating the Team Mazda Subaru Drive for Excellence in Education Forester. Now, I was a little slumped over, so I didn't see him, but the guy was all over me, riding my tail. And, you know, the way I used to handle this is I just slow down. But, folks, you don't want to antagonize these nitwits. And whether it's too much coffee, whether it's too much cholesterol, whether it's too much people being self-important, tailgating, running people off the road, speeding is a big problem. Now, in other parts of the country, they have this thing called murder. They have this thing called robbery. Here, it's speeding and it's road rage. Let's take a listen from our friends at Channel 7.
So I wanted you to take a look at this video. Our victim is the one going straight through here. You see that white Hyundai on the left that's signaling to turn as Anderson is going through. The couple in that car felt that they had been cut off. So let's take a look at what happened. It seemed like any other ordinary day for Len Anderson as he was driving home from work, until he turns off Eagle Road onto Presidential Drive, and this happens.
There was a car that was driving really slow in front of me, and I just went to pass it and sped up to pass it, and I saw a car getting ready to turn in front of me, and then they turned on their blinker, and I just went by, as anyone would do.
He was following the correct traffic procedures. I think he may have sped up a little bit at the intersection, but he definitely had the right of way.
So Len continued home. Once there, he got out of his car and went to get the mail when he noticed a white Hyundai pass his house, then turn around and come back again, stopping at his home. He says the man in the passenger seat got out and started taking pictures of Len, his house, and his car, yelling about how Len had cut them off.
You know, my mistake at that time was I should have just went in the house and called the cops. I didn't.
Len decided to snap some pictures of his own, all while Len says the man continued to get in his face.
You know, finally, like, get away from me, and I yelled at him, and I went like that to push him away.
That's when things escalated.
Then punched me in the face, and I fell to the ground, curled up, and then he just started punching me right on top of the head just over and over about 20 times. And then at that time, his wife yells at him to get in the car, we're going, and he got off me and left.
Meridian PD says in cases like this, no matter who's right or who's wrong, there's no excuse for violence.
And it's really not even about the right-of-way rules. It really is about common courtesy. You don't know who you're dealing with in that other vehicle. No reason to try to get into a physical confrontation with anybody. No reason to get angered. Your anger isn't going to change their behavior.
No, that's a great point. And here we have a situation of road rage. Can you imagine somebody that having nothing better to do than to follow you home, get out, start yelling at you, and start taking photos of you. Why? Life is too short. Yes, we got a lot of nitwits. And I will tell you, sometimes I am tempted to do things. But then I look in the mirror and go, really? Who's going to be intimidated of you there, fatty? Or I just sit back and I think to myself, life is too short. It is crazy. And yes, we've seen the one-fingered salutes. We've seen that, just like email. Everybody's a tough guy on email. Everybody's a tough guy in their car. But when you have to get out and face the music, that's not a good thing. One of the reasons that I am so adamant about this, about road rage, about being careful, about being safe, about being considerate, is very early on in my career, I covered a case where we had two moms going at it. Two moms resulting in a death. Gina Foster, Shirley Henson. Gina Foster was tailgating Shirley Henson, and both had families. Both had things in their lives. Both had things to do. So they go back and forth down the highway, and all of a sudden they get to a stoplight. And lo and behold, Miss Foster gets out, starts pounding on Shirley Henson's window. Now, Shirley had two choices. And remember, this was 1999, 2000. So she had her phone and she had a .38. Guess what Shirley Henson did? She didn't call the police. She didn't go for help. She didn't ignore the person pounding on her window. She coolly, calculatedly put down her window, put out her gun, grabbed her gun, and shot Gina in the face, Gina Foster. And again, our memory comes and goes with age. I will always remember those two. Shirley Henson, Gina Foster. Now, the prosecutors didn't want to prosecute. They wanted Shirley Henson to plead the case out. It was embarrassing. She hired a highfalutin lawyer. They went to court. She got 13 years in prison for murder, manslaughter. Took the stand and everything. Got national attention. Mr. Limbaugh had me on his show a few times talking about it. We flew out to Los Angeles and did national TV on it, trying to raise awareness that road rage is wrong. And can you imagine you're sitting there, and as if life is not difficult enough, the mortgage, the kids, the grandkids, work. So you're going home and somebody tailgates you. Somebody's following you as if it's a show of that 60s or 70s police private detective guy Mannix. Mannix is on the case. Or Magnum P.I., not the new one, but the old one with Tom Selleck. Or if you're a little older, Jim Rockford, the Rockford Files. They're tailing you. And they get out and start photographing you. What were those people in the white Hyundai thinking? It's kind of like the Black Kaiser, that new show on Netflix, Polar. This is, the white Hyundai. The white Hyundai is following you. The white Hyundai gets out. The white Hyundai starts taking photos. And then you make the mistake of pushing the white Hyundai. And the white Hyundai comes back and gives you a left, a right, a left, a right. Boom, boom, boom. You're on the ground. Yes, I know. It's nothing to laugh about, but people are crazy. In this world, when you're thinking about, I just want to get home, I just want to watch Fox News, maybe I'm going to listen to the Kevin Miller Show podcast, not really, yes, no, yes, no. Maybe this has happened to you in other places. Now, I could do the typical Kevin Miller thing and say, well, it's those people from California. It's the outsiders coming in. It's the people coming in driving more aggressively. And you can always tell people that have not acclimated to the state of Idaho, that have not assimilated to Gem State values. They're the ones that speed off and almost run you over in the parking lot. That's a Western thing where we don't look both ways before we cross the street. We just assume the right of way. But think about that. So what happens to these guys? Probably charged with assault, battery, everything else. And as my dad liked to say to me, and sometimes he still does, Kevin, if you had a brain, you'd be dangerous. But this is dangerous stuff. And maybe we can blame transportation. Maybe we can say our infrastructure is insane, but there's no excuse for doing that. People are just crazy. People are just insecure. Maybe we need more police. Is that going to solve the problem of these traffic situations? I'm thinking about this. Here you have a person, Walter Gage Anderson, now in the jail, accused of misdemeanor battery, accused of beating up another man for cutting him off in traffic. When is there an excuse to get into fights? And by the way, in Idaho, if you're new to the state, and even if you're not, chances are it really doesn't come to fisticuffs because everybody packs in the state. I'm not kidding. Everybody packs in the state. And if somebody's coming at me, think about this. How would you react if someone comes up to you in a threatening manner and starts taking photos of you at your house, in your home? Now, that's why our friend Greg Pruitt's talking about the castle doctrine. Most people in Idaho, you start punching them, they're going to pull out their gun and kill you. That's really what it comes down to. I love this. Everybody gets out. The other day, what was it, a couple years ago? I'm hanging out at the drive-thru. Where else would a guy like my physique be? At the drive-thru. And they wouldn't move, so I honked, and the lady flipped me off. And I'm going to go, I'm going to get them. And I'm going, who's going to get who? All I'm going to do is get punched in the face. I don't know if we've watched too many movies. Maybe we need to watch more commercials where men are emasculated. But what was this guy thinking? You're 36 years old, allegedly beating the heck out of this guy. Why in the world would you do this? And then you have other people. Why in the world do people tailgate? Why in the world do people not use their signal? Why in the people? And here's my personal favorite. Why in the world do people run red lights? And look, I do it as well. It scares the heck out of me. Acting irresponsibly. That is one topic at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Another one, is it me? Or are just everybody elected in Virginia, it seems, racist? Everybody in Virginia wearing the blackface, right? I mean, you've got the governor, then you've got the lieutenant governor, who's African-American, saying, I did not harass that woman that I'm accused of harassing. I want the benefit of the doubt, which the media didn't give Judge Kavanaugh. And then we've got, the Attorney General. Well, back in the 80s, those were good times. And I did some blackface. I'm trying to think if I ever did the blackface. I don't think so. And if you did, never mind if you were trying to have fun, you're a bad person. So we've got a lot to talk about here when we're talking about road rage. And maybe that's our next crusade, doing something about road rage. And then you throw in, I'm sorry, I forgot, and I see everybody's calling in, I forgot about the texting and driving. I've got to tell you what's going on. Let me text. I'm sorry for the voice. It's for entertainment purposes only. Your calls are next, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
I thought it was fabulous because it shows that we've gotten under his skin. He sees that everything is closing in on him.
There you have it, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And if I mispronounced it, my bad. You got Cortez there talking about the president.
I thought it was fabulous because it shows that we've gotten under his skin. He knows that he's losing the battle of public opinion when it comes to the actual substantive proposals that we're advancing to the public.
Yes. I wonder if she really understands what she's saying. And what is she, 29? And to know everything at 29. Gosh, I wish I was as smart as she was. We are talking road rage. In Meridian, a man driving around doing something close to nothing, different than the day before. He's jumped at home, allegedly beat up because of the road rage. The road's too dangerous here in the Treasure Valley, and what to do about it. Kurt in Boise. Good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Kurt.
Good morning, Kevin. Yeah, I experienced some road rage the other day, just last week. I was taking my son to school, just driving down Orchard, and this lady just decided that she was going to just change lanes, and almost ran into me. So I sped up to get away from her, and then she just started chasing me, and then I was minding my own business driving, and then she sped up in front of me and tried to cut me off again, and then I called the police and told them where I was going, what we were doing and everything, and they just never did anything. They didn't come over, and I followed her probably for 10 or 15 minutes, all the way from like Franklin and Orchard up to Victory and then down Victory, and nobody ever showed up, nothing. And the guy goes, well, if the police didn't see it, the dispatcher said if the police can't see it, they can't do nothing about it. So I don't know what the answer is, and maybe we could talk about that, but I know there's a lot to talk about today, so I don't know.
Well, how'd you feel, brother?
Oh, I was totally frustrated and mad. It was like I was the bad guy.
Right.
You know, just like the guy in the white car. He didn't do anything. Even the police said he didn't do anything. So that's why I called it in, because there's somebody, you know, they say if you see something, say something or report it. So I called in and said, this lady's driving, you know, she tried to cut me off, and she's driving erratically. She cut off other people. And they said, okay, follow her. And like, where are you at? What streets are you on? Where are you passing? Which way are you going? So I was doing all that with the dispatcher. And they finally said, do you want to file a complaint? And I said, well, what does that mean? And they go, well, that means you have to go to court. You have to testify. You have to do everything. And I said, well, no, I don't want to. I'm just trying to get my son to school. And I just want to try to alert you guys what's going on here. So I don't know. I mean, I understand their position by not seeing something, but I'm sure that there's somebody in the neighborhood or close by that could at least drive by and see what's happening.
Well put, Kurt, and thank you for sharing your story and having some restraint. That's unfortunately what we're all going to have to do, and it's going to take more efforts. Police can't be everywhere, but when you call it in, you expect them to be there.
Yeah, you expect them to be there, and like you were saying, you don't know if this person has a gun because everybody packs, and they think that they have the right to defend themselves or shoot at you when they really don't over something like that, because even in the state of Idaho, you can't kill or shoot at somebody over personal property, which would be a vehicle. So, I mean, you never know what's going to happen, and you don't know, you know, I mean, is it worth calling in? Is it just, or don't do nothing, just, I don't know, it's just frustrating. So maybe we could figure out a better way to solve these kind of problems. But I know there's a lot more to it and, you know, what's going on than that, but that's just a local thing.
Kurt, be careful, and thank you, brother.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Mick, Brian, Liberal Steve, and Will, hang on. First, traffic and weather together.
Channel 7's Eric Everett.
Thank you, Larry. Let's go to Mick in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Mick.
Mr. Miller.
Hey, Mick.
Hey, I appreciate you doing about the road rage thing. I really appreciate you bringing that up. There's no problem around. I feel that the police department's a little bit stretched. They do a lot of welfare checks, spending a lot of time on stuff that, you know, that they're, you know, I see so many cars with one headlight. And why aren't they taking care of that? It's because they're stretched on welfare checks and stuff. But I appreciate you bringing it up. And it's a good subject because we have a little bit of it around here.
Doesn't seem to be getting better. It seems to be getting worse.
It does. And that's because we get more and more people in, and our tax dollars have got to pay for everything else. And but I really appreciate you bringing up the subject about that. I've dealt with that before. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate what you do. And I think I'm going to go over to Rocky's Diner and have some pancakes.
Hey, have some for me, would you?
I think if you want me to, I will. No, he's back. Rocky's up and running, and I live close by to there, and he's for 20 years that guy's been there for me, and I love going over there and eating. So I'm going to go over and have some pancakes, and I will think about you, and I will catch up to you one day. But I appreciate the subjects that you bring up because they're tough subjects, and it's not every person who can bring up that type of subject. So God bless you.
God bless you, Mick. Enjoy the pancakes at Rocky's.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
580-5436, 580-KIDO. Brian in Nampa. Got a little ahead of myself. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Kevin. I just had to say that's one of the best State of the Union speeches I've heard in a long time.
I'd say.
The socialists, I think, got the message. And what is she talking about? we got under his skin? Are they a bunch of insects trying to burrow underneath the president's skin to get at him?
Trying to do something,
I guess you'll
yeah.
you have to go get a flea treatment or something. Anyway, yeah, that was awesome. I think these Democrats are forgetting that, a lot of Democrats voted for Donald Trump. They know his background, and that, I don't agree with everything he says, but hey, you know what? He's doing a great job, great speech, good job. The road rage. I drove all over the country. Houston, Texas, 6 million people. I have a background dealing with criminals. 98% of criminals will leave you alone if you communicate effectively with them. What do I mean by that? Well, I got a bumper protector on my hitch that says, keep honking, I'm reloading. Got a GOA sticker and a couple other Second Amendment stickers. Never had a problem. 98% of them will leave you alone if you effectively communicate that you aren't going to be a sheep and take their crap. And I don't know how else to say it. You learn that by reading books like Inside the Criminal Mind and The Games Criminals Play. The other 2%, they'll try to kill you. But 98% of them don't want to get hurt. This guy, he's right. He should have just walked in and called the cops. But more importantly, when he pulled up to his house, if he would have walked in and came out with a big black dog, the guy probably would have left. There's lots of things you can do to deter people like that. And yeah, you're right, Kevin. If that guy would have followed me home, I don't think he would have, because he would have read the stickers on the back of my truck. But if he would have followed me home, took pictures like that, and then came on my property and started walloping me, he wouldn't be in prison. And that's all I got to say, Kevin.
Brian, God bless. You're in my prayers, and my best to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up next, Max and Liberal Steve. Maybe we'll let them go at it. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
Blessed to be with you. Don't forget, right after Dave Ramsey is Sean Hannity. Kevin Miller in the morning, taking your calls concerning road rage, the fight against socialism, and we're just getting started. By the way, Senator Risch is expected to join us here on KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to the phones. Liberal Steve joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning, Idaho. I love road rage.
Well, we missed you the other night.
Oh, yeah, well, I was incognito. Let's not go there. That was the past. Let's not dwell on the past.
No, you weren't there.
Anyway.
You weren't there. Just admit that you weren't there.
I love road rage.
Just admit that you weren't at our State of the Union watch party, and we can continue.
I can't play hockey. I can't play football. I can't get in the basketball game, but I can play road rage. I love it. It's like the old Western days. And I wouldn't feel so all alone if all the politicians and law officers just got stoned. Huntington is going downhill because Ontario. You going to come over to Golden Thumb Farms and Left Coast Canopy here in a couple of weeks, Miller? Bring your friends and family.
Joining us now for Equal Time is Max with Liberal Steve.
Good morning, Steve. You feeling pretty good this morning, huh? Yeah, I think he probably hung up.
He did?
He's afraid of me. Did he hang up?
He did hang up.
Well, that's because through that haze of bomb smoke, he could barely find the hang-up button. I wanted to call about road rage as well.
Well, I can't get... Hold on, that's something.
Can you hear me?
I can't get over that. Liberal Steve, you chased him away, literally.
Well, the last time I beat him up, he was off the air for 3 weeks. And just last week when you said on the air, coming up next, Max and Liberal Steve came on so politely, remember?
Sure.
It almost made sense.
Almost.
Because he didn't want to tangle with me. Well, that aside, the road rage issue is a big one. I'm not a philosopher or anything, but the way I look at it, we're losing that fine edge, the civility. We're losing our civility. An automobile is a great equalizer, isn't it?
I
mean,
would
you're a
say
big
yes,
man.
sir.
What,
You're right.
you're a big man. Do you drive a car or a truck?
I drive a car and I drive a Subaru Outback. I don't drive a
Okay.
big truck.
Well, I'm not a big man. You've met me.
Well, you and I are
drive-
about the same, so we're not big. You're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, I drive a full-sized SUV. I drive it, basically because it's practical. But a lot of people drive bigger cars and trucks because it gives them a sense of confidence, a sense of equality on the road. You see a lot of women. I don't say lady. There's a big difference. You see a lot of women driving pickup trucks.
Now, hold on. Let me apologize in advance, but I'm
Okay.
going to go with you on this. You see a lot of young ladies
Young women.
driving big trucks, big SUVs, and just like men, driving aggressively.
And the key is they stay inside the vehicle because they know if they get out and they start banging on the window of this cowboy in his pickup, he's going to pound her into her shoe. The road rage, the other day I was driving down Chinden. I had just come off of Glenwood and I was heading in toward the city. And I don't know what was going on. It was a woman in probably an F-150, whipped in front of me and then slowed almost to a stop. So I slowed and waited. She's in the middle of the road waiting. Well, I've got nowhere to be, so I'm going to wait too. And we sat there at least 5 minutes. Finally, she jumped out of her truck. I backed up, drove around, and took off. About, half a mile down the road, she did it again. She pulls up in front, almost finally comes to a complete stop, and I had a big smile on my face because sitting right beside me was a Boise police car. That's the same SUV I drive, a Ford Escape, and it was a cop car. And he rolled his window down, and I pointed at her, and he smiled. I drove away. He hit his lights and pulled her over. Sometimes the police can do something.
Sure.
But like that fellow in the truck said, the guy with the Second Amendment stickers, our police are ill-appreciated. They're stretched to the limit.
They are.
The paycheck sucks. Nobody joins Boise PD because they're going to infest with their paycheck. And I agree with them. A good bumper sticker anywhere on your car that says, if you can read this, you're in range. Something like that. And people don't pick on you if they know that you are willing to do something. I don't know what I would have done in the case of the white Hyundai. Although I probably would have, in a big city, you drive to the police station.
Well,
if you're being followed.
let me
drive
just
to
say
the police
this.
station.
In Idaho, I'm going to tell you, the guy that was arrested for misdemeanor battery, he's lucky because most people in Idaho pack, and most people
Yeah,
in Idaho are
we
not
do.
going to let you assault them.
Well, if he's going to hit me, you've seen me. I'm not built like a great fighter, and I'm old. If someone's going to hit me and they're young and they're strong, I'd rather be tried by 12 and carried by 6. I'm going to blow his back out. Don't want to, but
All right, Max. Thank you for the call,
listen,
sir.
you take care. Great show.
Thank you. Well, if it isn't Mom's Apple Pie returning on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio, you didn't want to talk to Max?
Well, I was going through Jordan Valley and come down into the ravine and going up the hill, and it went boop. And I could hear you on the radio saying, "Oh, he hung up on you, Max. He hung up. Well, he hung up on me last time, and he was nice and soft and quiet last time, and halfway civil and all." And I'm going, "What's going on here?" But I looked down at my phone. Yeah, it went dead.
Right.
So I apologize. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, go ahead now.
unless-
Didn't you want to talk about road rage, how much you enjoy it?
Well, yeah, I do. I think it's great. I think I get invigorated when I get involved in it. Hitting the brakes, pulling in front, flipping them off, smiling, giving them that big grin. And they, it gets crazy. It gets absolutely out of hand sometimes, and then you got to really speed up and get away, and unless you want to get in the big fisticuffs. I don't know, but yeah, it's like going back in the Wild West days, man. And why involve the cops in it? I mean, that's stupid. That's crazy. I call the cops. You're just having a little fun out on the road. Try not to get other people involved, though, because some people are really skittish when it comes to that. But most people, I think, they get rid of that frustration from the work day, and that frustration of being married to the wrong woman. They get rid of all that on the road when it comes to the Rays. Don't you agree, Miller?
I think you've given it a lot deeper thought than I have.
How about the hemp? I mean, come on. According to these companies, they can test hemp in about 5 minutes to its THC level. And they haven't got back to this company yet that's going to sue us now. Now it's going to cost, we have to use our state attorneys.
They're not going to sue us, and if they do, bring it on. The lawbreakers will not win.
Oh, yeah. Well,
the lawbreakers will not win. We will prevail as we have done. America will be saved, and the drug toters will shuffle off to Ontario.
Miller?
And I feel bad for the people of Ontario. You know, I need to go to the suits here at the Broadcast Center and beg us to go in and liberate Ontario, to do a show from Ontario, to get the real side of the story. Maybe even go into the purveyors of the pot and call them out for what they are.
Sure. Go into, they're going to be opening up soon. Go into Golden Thumb Farms there or East Coast Canopy.
I'm going to have to bring in a bunch of disinfectant.
There's 13 stores, so you'll have plenty to call and choose from, and I'm sure they'd invite you over. It's just that the 99.
Not after what I have to say to them.
It's just that the 99.9% of the Idaho plates that show up usually probably won't be there if Miller's there.
And I'll be bringing Daniel Tiger, our digital person, to document everything with the photos, so I can turn them over to the ISP.
And what's with Risch and Crapo voting yes on the Farm Bill allowing hemp in? Ask Risch that if he got the you-know-what.
We have a lot of questions for the senator.
Well, ask him that. How come you voted yes on the Farm Bill if it allows hemp to be grown?
How come you didn't show up at the State of the Union?
Oh, I was right there. I was there, Miller. You were wearing the big red shirt.
You saw
Amber
that.
was the waitress, and
right. You saw that on social media. There's no Amber that works there. Thank you.
Oh, okay, Miller. You call Dave and Buster's and ask if there's an Amber that works there.
I'll talk to my friend Brian. There's no Amber there.
Yes, there is. Talk to him right now. Get him on the phone so you can embarrass you in front of everybody.
I do a good enough job of that myself. Thank you, Liberal Steve.
Stay fired up.
All right, KIDO Talk Radio Time, 6:48. Don't forget, Senator Risch joining us. We are talking about road rage, not only in Meridian, but anywhere else. Does anybody have a solution? And the fight against socialism continues. Heady topics before we get to the 7 a.m. hour. Kevin Miller on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. The battle over socialism continues.
Thought, I wonder how many Democrats agree with that. Because to me, if the country is failing because he's so awful, then I'd want him to fail too. Because I want someone to come in and save it. But I have to say the word socialist is now becoming a buzzword like liberal and feminist, where the right wing is now taking that word and distorting it. So every time you use it, I'm going to interrupt you.
But how is it what Ocasio-Cortez is saying?
Yeah, it is being used. It's being weaponized. Bastardized, that word. Mm-hmm. Nobody.
Can any of these people talk without swearing? And I'm sorry for that. The idea that you have somebody defending socialism. One more time, this is from The View, which is supposed to be about entertainment.
I think you have.
And there we have it. So what's and this is in response to the President of the United States saying the most powerful line of the State of the Union, effectively making his case that, yes, he will be reelected. In fact, 76% of Americans agree with the President of the United States. Let's take a listen.
People in their noble quest for freedom, and we condemn the brutality of the Maduro regime, whose socialist policies have turned that nation from being the wealthiest in South America into a state of abject poverty and despair. Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence and not coercion, domination, and control. We are born free and we will stay free.
There you go, and there you have Bernie Sanders looking like he's sucking on a lemon. Traffic and weather together, Kevin Miller in the morning.
Channel 7's Eric Everett.
And back to the phones, joined by Representative Christy Zitto. Representative Zitto, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Not bad, just kind of hanging out, rolling. Thank you for attending our party, by the way.
Oh, it was great. It was great. It was a good night. It felt so good to hear someone actually be proud of our country. You know, we grew up being proud to be Americans. We honored our flag. It was a good thing. And, you know, Kevin, I think in a great way, this addresses a little bit about what you're talking about on your show today. As a society, we seem to have lost a great level of civility. We seem to have lost that being respectful of each other, being mindful of another person's feelings. I don't know when the last time you went into the grocery store or the drugstore or any place where someone offered you service or checked you out even to stop and get a drink in the morning, or McDonald's. And when was the last time anybody ever looked at the person who was offering that service, even a waiter or a waitress, and you actually cared about what they thought, or you actually engaged with them and asked them how they were and how their day was, and then actually listened to what they had to say? And even driving down the road, I have found that and I've just kind of made it my personal goal to be extra courteous, because I really, honestly, truly believe if we start to pay these things forward, and if on an individual basis we work to restore that kind of civility and courtesy and respect for our fellow beings, I believe it'll spread.